Emmanuella Shaibu is a 16-year-old student at Fort Richmond Collegiate in Winnipeg and a member of the Know Your Roots group. In a school that doesn't have any Black teachers, that group is a safe space for Black students to talk about their experiences. CBC's Nampande Londe sat down with Emmanuela to learn how anti-Black racism affects students' daily lives.
And your calligraphy is so nice.
I think it's no. You think if, but I think you mean they're not gonna work out.
So what kind of issues have you talked about that arise for Black students with mental health?
I feel like our mental health is not taken very seriously, like especially when it comes to like anti-Black racism and how it affects like Black students' mental health. It's not taken seriously, especially by the other non-Black students. Like when it comes to things like police brutality and racism and microaggressions, they don't really seem to care about things like that and how it affects their Black peers. And I think that's a very big issue and a problem because you find yourself just being bombarded with racism and microaggressions everywhere you go. And it shouldn't have to be like that for Black students.
Like, what do you feel is important for adults to know about what Black youth are going through?
That racism doesn't just go away when you get into school. Like the same views that many old non-Black people have, or like the same racist views that some adults might hold, are the same views that they're teaching to their kids. So racism is not something that you don't see in schools. It's like everywhere, and that Black students' experiences and the experiences of Black youth need to be listened to. Like, especially when it comes to racism, the things that you're experiencing as an adult is probably the same things that they're experiencing when it comes to racism as a youth.
What do you think that schools could do better to support Black students?
Something that I think schools could do better is to, one, acknowledge that it's happening, acknowledge the racism and how it affects Black people in the school, and then try to see what they can do about it, like come up with solutions. Maybe put clearer rules on what you can and can't say in school, or make harsher punishments for people who do use the N-word against Black people or do use slurs against Black people, and also to create a safe space for Black students to know that they are like appreciated and they're loved and that they can come to school and feel like they're safe.
How does anti-Black racism intersect with bullying? Like, how does that become different for Black students?
I feel like it becomes different for Black students because a lot of the bullying is like stereotypes and like prejudice and just full on, racism. Because like when it comes to a non-Black person being bullied, like it's also hurtful language, but when you're a Black person, you can be called the N-word, or you can be called things that like pertain to your identity, and it's kind of hard to get away from that because you exist as a Black person and your skin is never gonna go away, so it's something you're going to have to go through all your life, and those things that they might have said to you in like the 5th grade might carry or stick with you all your life.
Do you feel like there's a stigma in the Black community when it comes to talking about mental health?
I definitely do think there's a stigma when it comes to mental health. I feel like mental health has been kind of revolved around like whiteness and almost like acceptable for white people and not for like Black people, especially like when you come to terms with the fact that like police brutality, some of the people in those situations, the Black people, have been having mental illness, and instead of like taking account of that, they just see them as another Black person who's a threat. And I think that Black people deserve to like be human and deserve to like be not okay, and we need to like take account of that and realize that it's okay for Black people to not be okay.